All right. We are tonight. We are in the 5th chapter, Revelation. Revelation chapter 5, chapter 4, and chapter 5. Both go together, and they are about the throne of God, where everything is going to be dictated from. Now, in this, in Revelation chapter 5, and I saw in the right hand of him who sat on the throne a scroll written inside and on the back, sealed with 7 seals. Now, this picture at this point is God the Father. God the Father, the book is in his right hand. Judgment would come from God's wrath, judgments which will be executed in chapter 6 through 19. Judgments which will vindicate God's righteousness, avenge and deliver God's servants, destroy God's enemies, and leave the earth in the possession of Christ, the one to whom it rightfully belongs. Now, so the person on the throne at this point is God the Father. He's there on the throne, and he has in his right hand the book of destiny, which gives us what is going to take place in this world from that point forward. This book is most important because it contains the mortgage deed to this earth. What's going to happen to the earth from this point forward, and all of the events, future events, is contained in this book. This book is sealed with 7 seals, and it's about man, and it's about also nature. And so the problem is that we just need somebody that's worthy to go up and take this book out of the right hand of God. Now, John, in the 4th chapter, is called to come up hither, and last week's lesson it said that I'm gonna show you things that's going to take place after these things, and so now John is in heaven, and looking down on the earth. He was called up through an open door, and he is a type of the church. Before all of this can take place, the church will have to be caught up and caught out. And and that'll take place at the time of the rapture. The events cannot take place until the church is out of here. So John is in heaven, and a voice, an angel comes through with a loud voice that can be heard throughout heaven and throughout the whole earth. Want to know who is worthy to open up this book. And John gets concerned. John breaks out and starts crying. Is he crying because he's a crybaby?
No. What he saw.
No, he's crying because he's concerned, because he realizes that we'll never know what's in the book if we can't find anybody worthy. And so consequently, a search is put into progress. They searched all over heaven. They searched throughout the earth.
Who searched?
Who? God has an angelic group that's doing the search. And then they searched under the earth. In other words, that's all of the individuals who have died, and all of the prophets and so forth and so on. And none of them, nobody is found worthy. And then all of a sudden, they look, and they say the Lion of the tribe of Judah shows up, and this person is the one who's worthy, and of course that individual is none other than Jesus Christ. So the search for one worthy of opening the book, that's verses 2 through 4. The strong angel seeks for someone to open the book. So a search is made throughout all the universe for one worthy to open the book. That is, to judge, possess, and rule the earth. The failure of no person in heaven or on the earth or under the earth is found qualified to judge, possess, and rule the earth. So we have the response of John. He kept on weeping. He wept because he yearned for God's kingdom to be established. Is that door locked?
It's probably Elijah.
If no worthy one is found, and the book remains closed, there will be no vindication of God's righteousness, no avenging of the saints' blood, and no destruction of God's enemies, no establishment of God's kingdom, and no bringing in of universal righteousness. So to find the one that is worthy, his identity, it is the Lord Jesus Christ. That's verse 5 and 6.
And so was Jesus already there? He's already there, right?
He was already available, but they didn't know who he was. And so his 3-4 right, the worthiness to judge, possess, and rule the earth. He has a prophetic right. He is the Lion of the tribe of Judah. He's the ruler prophesied to come from the lion-like tribe of Judah in Genesis 49, 9 to 12. He has a legal right. He is the root, the offspring of David.
5 and 6.
In accordance with the covenant made with David, the coming world judge and ruler must be of the dynasty of David. That's Isaiah 11, 1 and verse 10. He has a redemptive right. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah has prevailed to open the book. Christ prevailed, conquered through his death and resurrection, regaining the scepter and the dominion over the earth lost by the first Adam. That's Psalms 8, verse 5 and 6, Hebrews 2, 5 through 9. Now Christ has the right, the authority, and the power to judge, possess, and rule this earth. And then when we come up on verse number 6, he said, and I looked, and behold, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 living creatures, and in the midst of the elders stood a lamb, as though it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent out into all the earth. Then he came, took the scroll out of the right hand of him that sat on the throne. Yes, okay. He is in the midst of the throne. He now shares the Father's throne. He's standing. He sits in regard to his past ministry of offering a sacrifice. He stands in regard to his present ministry of directing the church. He will stand in regard to his future ministry of judging the earth. He appears as a lamb. He was a lamb at his first coming. He will be a lion at his second coming. He once came as a lamb to be judged. He's coming as a lion now to judge. He is a lamb to his friends, oh Lord, but he's a lion to his enemies. He appears as a lamb slain. He yet bears the marks of the cross. John 20, 26 through 29. In other words, he's in heaven right now with the marks of the cross. He has 7 horns. He possesses all power. Matthew 28 and 18. He possesses. Yes.
Okay, John 20, 26 through 29. Marks of the what?
20, he appears as a lamb slain. That's John 20, 26 through 29. He has 7 horns, which I read a minute ago. He possesses all power. That's what the horns is, a symbol of power. And that's Matthew 28 and 18. He possesses omnipotence. That's all knowledge. He has 7 eyes. He possesses the fullness of the Spirit. That's Revelation 4 and 5. And so knows all things. He possesses omniscience. That's having all knowledge. Five and 7, we have his possession of the book. Then he came and took the scroll out of the right hand of him who sat on the throne. The book is taken by the Lamb who is about to become a lion. This is one of the most important events of all time. The judgment, possession, and rulership of the earth by Christ is just ahead. The event promised and awaited from the foundation of the world. We're going to have also the setting up of the kingdom is soon now to occur, according to Daniel 7, 13, 14, and also Matthew 25 and 34. The parallel to the Lamb's reception of the book is found in Daniel 7, 9 through 14. So this is a period in time that is most important. Now, this 7 seal book in the hand of God is the most important picture in Revelation. It contains the whole key to the understanding of the book. Now in Daniel chapter 12, Daniel seals the book. And Daniel is told that this has to do with the time of the end. Daniel 12 and 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. And Daniel is told that this book has to do with his people, which is the nation of Israel. I want to point out to you from Daniel 9, 24 through 27, the prophecy of 490 years of the 70 weeks of Daniel. Now, we've gone over that before, but the 70 weeks of Daniel is very important. In other words, Israel was now in captivity. And they've been in captivity for now 68 years. And so Daniel wants to know how long are they supposed to be in captivity?
Babylonian captivity.
Babylonian captivity, yes. And so so Daniel prays. And when so Daniel now is praying. God releases the angel Gabriel. And the angel Gabriel comes to Daniel. Daniel not only want to know how long are they going to be in captivity, but how long is it going to be before Christ comes? Because this has been a promise, the Messiah to come for thousands of years. And so Daniel now wants to know now, how soon is soon? And so God sends the words to Daniel by the angel Gabriel with the answer to his question. Now, that was the reason why Israel is in Babylonian captivity is because when they went on to the land, God told them and every 7 years they were to let the land rest. They were not to farm the land on the 7th year. They were to let it rest. And so Israel, every year, they were to take the tithe, they were to take the 10% of the produce and sacrifice it to God, and then come back and then gather the rest for themselves. Okay. But in the 7th year, they were to not gather anything. It was all supposed to lay there for the wayfarers and the strangers. All right. The first 6 years, after the first 6 years, which were great years, they just bound the crops. And so the 7 years have come now. They are just like you and I. You promised the Lord that, I'm gonna give you 10% of my earnings, and the Lord just gives you raise. You get raise after raise, and then you finally tell him, "Now, Lord, I'm not gonna miss a Sunday from church." And now all of a sudden, the boss comes to you and tell you he wants you to work on Sunday, gonna give you double time. And you said, "Oh, wow, man, I work, I make double the money." And so what do? You tell them, this is optional. You can turn it down. It's not mandatory. It's optional. You didn't make this promise to the Lord, and now you got an opportunity to make more money. So you go ahead and make the money and forget about what you told the Lord. Well, this is what happened to Israel. That 7th year, they said, "Man, ooh, if we can make that much next year, we'll be so far ahead." And so they kept working the land. They oh yeah, it was bountiful. It was bountiful. Now they were supposed to not to work the land in the 7th year. And then God promised them that their 6th year, the 6th year was gonna be so great that they'd have enough to harvest, put in their barns, to live on in the 7th year. So they had to increase of the 6th year. And then now they taking all of the 7th year. And so they didn't do that for just for 1 year. They did it for 70 years. They did that for 70 years. And so now God wants his back. So what does he do?
Back pay.
He takes them off the land. He's gonna get his. So now he takes them off the land. And they got 70 years to pay back. And that's how that 490 comes in that I was talking about.
Seven times
70. It's 490 years.
Yeah.
So it's 490 years now that's involved here. And 70 of them, they're in captivity.
Wow.
Now, they forgot all about how long they was going to be there. But God told in the 25th chapter of Jeremiah had prayed, and God told Jeremiah that they'd be there for 70 years because of, and it was all because of the tithing.
Oh.
That they kept the tithe from the Lord. That's what kind of bothers me about people that non-tithe. How God is going to handle that, because it's important to Him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but when people, when we just decide we want it all,
Yeah.
and He done said that part of it is what? Holy unto me. And you gonna take the holy thing. And so God is bad and I am. So, I just said, well, go on with your bad self. Go on, spend his money.
Scared too.
But you know, he that's his business.
Right.
He knows how to. He's gonna deal with that, and that's not for me to worry about. And so that's the position now that Israel have themselves in. And so now Daniel is concerned. They've already been in captivity for 68 years. And he wants to know how long it's going to last. And then now he also wants to know how long is it going to be before Christ returns. And so Gabriel comes and gives him the 70 weeks of Daniel. And so and it's broken down that it's 49. After 49 years, one thing happens, and then after 62 more years, something else happens. At the end of the 60, after the 49 years and the 60, how many? 60, what else did I say?
You said 62?
Yeah.
The 62. How many? That's how much is that?
Oh, we multiplying that?
No.
Yeah.
Add 62 and 49.
That's 111 years.
511. It's a
Okay.
full 49.
49.
Oh, 49.
49.
I was too.
62.
500.
Did you say 449?
No,
49.
Oh, you're adding a multiplying.
111. 111.
Oh, it's
62 is 1.
Uh,
Is it 111?
62,
111.
62 times 7. How much is that?
62 times.
You said 62?
times 7.
7 times.
Times 7.
42, 43,
440, 434.
I thought 434.
Uh-huh.
434?
Mhm.
Okay. It must be 61 then. That's right.
61 times
What's it
7.
supposed to be?
Times
What's the,
7.
what's the
What's
usually
it
looking
supposed
for?
427.
Okay.
What you trying to get to?
I thought 7
That,
years.
that's,
If 7 years come out, we'll be 427.
those two, after you subtract them, they come together and you subtract it from 49, supposed to leave 7. So that's, I know the first one is 49. 7 sevens.
7 sevens. 7 times 7, yeah, it is 49.
That's, and then 62 sevens, I believe it is. Let me see. Just a minute.
61 sevens come out to 427.
61 sevens,
Come out to 427.
and then add 49 to that.
476.
4,
476.
okay.
72.
Just a minute out there. Okay. The first period, that's 925. This period consists of 7 sevens, that's 49 years. And then the second period consists of 62 sevens. And then the third period, 927, this period consists of 1 7. Okay. So 62 sevens was how much?
434.
430?
4.
434.
Okay, 434 and 49 is how much? Should be 406, 483 years out of it.
Right, that's 483.
At 483?
Yeah.
Yeah.
434 and 49.
And that leaves 7. Now, at the end of the 483 years, a Messiah would be cut off. In other words, Christ would come and be crucified. And at the end of the 483rd year, ushers in the church age. And that's an undetermined amount of time. We don't know how long that's going to be. Matter of fact, we even asked Jesus how long was it going to last. And Jesus said, that's in the hands of who? My Father. He said, I don't even know. And so the church age is we don't know how long it's going to last. But it will close at the rapture. When Christ comes back the second time after the church. That ends the church age. And that ushers in these last 7 years, which is the Great Tribulation period. So Daniel gave us that timetable when he prayed and asked God, how long was this going to last? And so God gave him the answer. And so Christ came. The church age is in progress now, and it's going to end with the rapture of the church.
Mm.
In other words, when Christ returns. And don't come not the second time, because when he comes the second time, he comes back to the earth, but he just comes in the sky. The dead in Christ is going to rise first. Then those that are alive and remain is going to be caught up together with them in the clouds. And then we're going away, and we're going to be with the Lord. And that's the rapture.
So that rapture starts that last week.
That starts that last week. Right. Then after after the church is taken out, then Christ in heaven is gonna go up and take this 7 seal book out of the right hand of God. And then he's gonna, and then he, once he gets that book, then that's the end of chapter 5. And we in chapter 6, he's gonna pull off that first seal. And then the devil is gonna come riding out on a red horse, on a white horse. I'm sorry. He's gonna come riding out on a white horse. You notice he's got a bow, but no arrows. So what's the purpose of that is he has to pretend that he is the Messiah, because the Messiah is the one that's supposed to be coming back on the white horse. And so he's got to convince people that Christ have not come back yet. That's his purpose. And so if Christ came on Saturday, Sunday morning, there will be service going on in all of our churches. There'll be enough people left. There'll be somebody preaching. There'll be enough deacons. And the choir stall will be full.
I don't think it'd be enough deacons.
You'll be on time.
Ushers will be on duty.
He'll be on time next Sunday.
I won't be there.
You'll be late, you'll still be traveling.
You see.
I'll be caught up.
But and that's where to be. And then the next week we will get to all of these seals as he tears them off in heaven. Then the activity takes place on the earth.
Wow.
Now, I've always asked this question every time Revelation study. Is this literal? Are these horses literal?
Is this horse